Okay, so here's the real question. Is Tommy Wiseau a genius? Is this all intentional, or is he a lucky idiot? Was this all intentional? Is it intentionally bad? I'm leaning towards intentionally bad. I think that it's intentionally awful, that this is all some kind of crazy act. What do you think?
I think he's so delusional that he thought of this movie, he thought of this screenplay, what have you. He wrote it in his broken English, and he's from New Orleans, apparently.
Yeah.
Not so much. And he thought it was great. He thought it was brilliant. And it happened to get a cult following. And he thinks it's truly that people love his work. When it was, it's great because it's so bad.
Yeah.
It's so bad. There are so many parts of the movie that mean nothing, that go nowhere. That have no meaning. They're just there. It's bizarre. It's bad.
It is really bad. The reason I'm leaning towards it being intentionally bad is that there are a couple of technical mistakes that are just so ridiculous. Like there's a boom mic in it. There's an obvious boom mic in one of the scenes that just kind of dips down, and everyone screams "boom mic." It's so bad. Okay, now I thought that it would get old. I thought, because I'd seen the clips online and they were hysterical, but I totally thought that it would get old and I would want to leave. Like, I didn't think that I would be able to get through it. It's a great movie in its own horrible way. Like, isn't it? Like,
I think so.
Yeah.
I only saw it at the theater with mounds of people who knew the movie and had their spoons and their costumes and their phrases.
Yeah.
So it was a big thing the first time I saw it. I haven't seen it on its own.
Yeah.
And with so much going on and people so excited and screaming it out, eating muffins and such in the theater.
Yeah.
There's a lot of lines that you completely miss. But the lines that I did hear were quite spectacular. Like, they were quite out of control.
Yeah. Yeah, and also the way that they scream, like the best lines. Oh yeah, the best lines in the film, like the most memorable lines, are all screamed in unison by everyone in the theater, more or less. Like, it's pretty amazing. It's very Rocky Horror Picture Show. I'll talk about that more tomorrow. But yeah, I mean, and so you do miss things, but you catch so much.
I'm so excited that was the first time I saw it because it was amazing.
Yeah.
It was life-changing.
Within the pantheon of cult and midnight movies, there are, of course, the gold standards. You have Eraserhead, Pink Flamingos, Night of the Living Dead, etc. And, of course, the champion of all cult films, Rocky Horror Picture Show. And while you can certainly find huge numbers of people who consider these movies unwatchable, or at the very least in poor taste, not members of the cult, these films are still widely hailed as landmarks in many ways and far from awful. Now, on the other end of the midnight spectrum, you have movies that are considered so bad they find new life as ironic comedies. Examples would include Ed Wood's notorious Plan 9 from Outer Space, and of course the insane 1930s anti-drug propaganda film Reefer Madness. But it is so incredibly rare to find a movie that has nearly the same level of cult appeal as the masterpiece that was Rocky Horror Picture Show, combined with an awful ludicrousness that would make Ed Wood's corpse blush. And yet here we are, living in the first true age of irony, and ironically enough, The Room by Tommy Wiseau is just such a film. The brainchild, it makes me chuckle just saying that, of intentionally mysterious writer, director, actor, and producer Tommy Wiseau. Tommy speaks with a thick Eastern European accent which sounds remarkably like a gay Arnold Schwarzenegger, but he refuses to acknowledge where he's actually from. Answers range from America to New Orleans to France. After encountering Tommy and seeing his film, one is forced to consider the distinct possibility that the man may be a comedy genius, on par with an Andy Kaufman, if you will. Is The Room a gigantic prank, as brilliant as it is bad? Or is Tommy and his film absolutely sincere, just as Hal Warren was completely convinced he'd made a horror movie masterpiece when he walked into the premiere of his first and last film, Manos: The Hands of Fate? Whether Tommy is a genius, using bad acting and softcore porn sets the way a sculptor would use clay, or an oblivious idiot, almost doesn't matter. He really has created something here that's truly entertaining, and perhaps the intentions behind it are to be relegated to fascinating but irrelevant trivia. Like Manos: The Hands of Fate, The Room is, for better or for worse, in this case worse, its creator's mind poured onto the screen in every way, only compounding the fascination with the thing. Like a train wreck, you can't look away, but unlike a train wreck, you really want to get in there and see it from all the angles. You want to know how this thing ticks. Tommy, of course, speaks in broken English, and also in confusing circles that go absolutely nowhere. He meanders from vague point to bad joke and back, repeating himself and confusing himself and finally giving up and moving on. His incoherence is hysterical, and combined with his ego that could peel the paint off a fucking battleship, he's flat out contagious to be around. Written as a stage play first, and boy does it show, the film seems to think it's a tragedy in league with Othello or Macbeth, and perhaps it could have been if the plot had been truly fleshed out. The movie centers around Johnny, played by Tommy, and his sociopathic fiancée Lisa, as she plots ways to destroy their relationship that range from adultery to faking a pregnancy. Actually an intriguing dramatic thread, if not for the fact that it remains a thread and is hysterically executed. The movie, like Tommy, constantly abandons ideas mid-execution and never revisits them. There is an incredibly overdramatic rooftop confrontation between the innocent teenage Denny, hi Denny, and his brutish, gun-toting weed dealer who apparently is owed some money. Here the movie achieves an almost reefer madness tone as we are forced to consider the insanity that is a fucking weed dealer with a gun who needs his money now. Later in the scene, we learn that this is Denny's first time buying weed. How much weed could Denny have possibly gotten that would justify his dealer visit him with a fucking gun? And we are also forced to wonder why the fuck a weed dealer whom felt it necessary to carry a gun would ever front a kid enough weed to justify threatening said kid with said gun. And to top it off, this scene never comes up again for the rest of the film. It's a pointless dead end, one of many. This, strangely enough, lends itself quite nicely to the film's atrocious pacing. The movie opens with not one, not two, but 3.5 sex scenes, almost back to back. And while every other sex scene in the film is some kind of betrayal by a character, all the scenes are shot cheeseball romantically like Skinamax pornos, making it impossible to distinguish dramatic tone at all. But not impossible to laugh, which you will do a lot. It's hysterical as characters struggle with gorgeously awkward sex scenes and dialogue that was obviously written by a non-English speaker. This brings us to the group dynamic. Like Rocky Horror before it, The Room has become a true phenomenon in terms of audience participation. There is, inexplicably, a framed picture of a spoon on Lisa's end table. Every time it can be glimpsed in frame, the audience screams out, "Spoon!" and then throws little plastic spoons like this one. Every time the character of Denny, hi Denny, enters a door, he is greeted by the audience with wonderful enthusiasm. Every time Johnny says his most famous lines, such as, "You are tearing me apart, Lisa!" the audience is right there with him the whole time. There was even a costume contest with Tommy, and of course, he did the judging of it. But the primary aspect of this that really hit home for me was that unlike Rocky Horror, The Room is a fairly new movie phenomenon, and therefore this audience participation thing is still evolving. Going to a showing of The Room means you will not only get to witness, but also be able to participate in the evolution of our generation's Rocky Horror. You have the chance to contribute and decide what future audiences will shout at the screen. That, my friends, is called cool. The Room is an atrocious American motion picture, and I am recommending it to you like I recommend morphine.